By the power of Xenodiladon, I have a stick light! For this project, you'll need 2 sections of stripped solid core copper wire, about 8 inches long. Some SMD LEDs, any color of your choice, as long as they're pretty thin. An N-channel MOSFET, I'll be using a DP-AK style. A push-button switch with locking function for on and off. 2 sections of wire to make your other connections. 1 or 2 Schottky diodes, depending on the current draw of your LEDs. A 1/8 watt resistor above 1 kiloohm. And a polarized connector, matching the one that you've used in your E-Hookah's battery adapter. And of course, an E-Hookah. Let's get started with assembling the string of LEDs. And I have a backup just in case this doesn't go well. So I'm using the LEDs pulled from an old LCD LED backlit TV, and I don't know the condition of those LEDs, so they might not work, but I want a nice cool white. So first you're going to take these 2 pieces of copper wire and you're going to straighten them out as much as you can. And grab that one too, straighten it out a little bit. That'll do. That'll do just fine. Okay, now I'm going to start with 1 LED, and you're going to make sure that all the LEDs are in the correct orientation. So I'm going to be first soldering the small side of the LEDs. So what I want to do is I'm going to take my solder and I'm going to tin the sections of where I'm going to solder on the copper, and I'm going to tin those sections up. So I'm going to start here, put that down. So let's do our starting LED right there. Excellent. Okay. Now let's find a surface of which to work on, such as a cardboard box. Okay, this is where things get a little tricky, and patience pays off. So how I do this, when I get the first LED set, I'm going to focus it on there. Not good enough. And grab one of the LEDs. And I'm going to put it into position and solder it. Just like so. Alright, and then I'm going to find the next space, which I want by using a lip spacer. And I'm going to be putting the spacer as such. And I'm going to be tinning the next area on the piece of copper. So, here. And I'm leaving some copper wire available just because I want the heat distribution properties. The LEDs can get a little warm. Some of these LEDs are pretty decent output. A little tinning there. And on to the next LED. And I'll be repeating this process. So, move this LED over onto this side. And I'll be pressing the 1 LED firmly against the surface. And being careful, I'll be soldering the next LED in line. Then get into position. Well, that didn't work very well now, did it? I think that piece is a little too tall. Well, we can use that for spacing. And we're going to take the other piece of wire then, and we're going to do the same process on the other side. And this will go quicker. So now we hopefully test. So, see how many LEDs we need to replace. Should there be at least one? So, bring the supply up to 3 volts. And we're going to go and test it. So, it's going to be a negative. That's convenient. There's a string of LEDs. And, oh, that's a good sign. And let's turn up the power a little bit. That'll do very well. Here's the E-Hookah all pulled apart. These are the pieces you'll want to save from it. The battery, the inner tube, and the outer tube along with the 2 end caps. If you don't know how to take apart and prepare the E-Hookahs, it's shown in the previous E-Hookahs video. So the first step is to cut this in half. I'll be using a Dremel to do that. Wipe off the hands. And find which piece looks better. I think it's going to be that piece. That is going to be the one that is going to be used. But trim those edges a little bit. Really like cutting with horrible. Let's try this one. They're both terrible. Yeah. You know, I'm just gonna go ahead and say this is an optional step. Let's go ahead and yeah. You know what? I only have so much OCD. So let's compare the LED strip to the size of that. See, you know, this is where the OCD really kicks in. Yeah. Right. Okay. Whatever. Oh, right. Let's remove the extra clippings from the LED. Let's sadly remove that LED because it's not going to fit in smoothly. Goodbye. That was wasted effort. Alright, so now the next step is to glue this assembly on. Alright, well, now that the glue gun is pretty much warmed up, we can start putting the LEDs into position. So, we want to find the center point on the half of the piece that we cut out and start pegging the strip of LEDs onto the center of the tube, or on the outside of the tube, not the center. And we're just going to use a glue gun and just put little pegs on there, because, yeah, you don't want to melt the tube. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And now for the will it fit test. So now the battery has to fit in, and it does. Okay, so here's pretty much everything in the way it's going to fit into the tube. So let's start with wiring up the components. First thing, let's select the MOSFET and resistor. So I'm going to tin the two MOSFET leads on the bottom, which are the source and the gate. So first I'm going to tin the source of the MOSFET. Tin, tin, tin. And I'm going to tin the gate. I'm going to burn my fingers. Alright. Let's get a little zoom on there. Focus so you can see what I'm doing. There you go. Clear pictures. And we're not going to solder anything to the center one right there. So I'm going to just set the resistor on as such. And hopefully the surface tension of the solder doesn't carry it away. That'll hold it for a little bit. Beautiful. Now let's clean up those edges. Once you have that prepared, then you get to grab the negative wire connection. Ta-da! And I'm going to clip some of the wire off of that. I've got about a foot of wiring here. I'm going to clip about 4 inches off, leaving me with about 8 to 9 inches, a little longer than 8 to 9 inches. Yeah, well, maybe about 10 inches. It's some inches, leaving some wire. Okay. And then I'm going to make a little connection here as well. So I'm going to melt some of that wire off. Locate the negative terminal of the battery, which is this one. And then we're going to solder that wire on the negative terminal. Just like that. Beautiful. I couldn't have done it better myself. Okay, and now we're going to find the area of what this best fits into your E-Hookah. Oh, leaving a little bit of room on the back for the charging connector. And finding the best location, with the negative side exposing more of the area here. Once you found a good area, you're going to take that section and apply a little bit of hot glue in there to keep the battery from sliding around. And we'll wait till that cools down. Once that is cooled, now you can attach the MOSFET. So I'll be clipping this wire off, making this wire a little shorter. And we can go get rid of that. And then prepare that wire for soldering. I'm just going to use the heat of the soldering iron to strip that wire back a little bit. And we're going to attach that wire to the MOSFET source, which on this MOSFET is the most right pin. Clean off the soldering iron and attach. A little more solder. Beautiful. From there, you can now attach a positive wire on. So the positive wire is going to go to two places. It's going to go to the positive connection of the LED, and it's going to go to the positive connection of the charger. Actually, it's going to go to three places. It's going to go to a lot of places. Don't listen to me, just follow what I do. Okay, so first we're going to have to remove a little bit of the insulation on the wire. And expose some of that for soldering. And that's going to go on the positive side of the battery. So we're going to pull out that. And we're going to put that loop right there. Excellent. And do the same with that, gluing it down a little bit to secure it into position. Okay, so now we have a couple of connections going on. We have the positive connection to make now to the LEDs. So that side is going to be that side. So we're going to take and we're going to run up the white wire in this area just a little bit up where the LEDs are. So we're going to make a little hole in there. Tiny little hole with the soldering iron. Ding, just like that. And we're going to bring that rail over to where that hole is. Then we're going to trim out the other one because that's not needed. And then we make another little point in this wire. We're going to solder that. So and these are the two connections that I was talking about. There'll be more. Oh, seriously? Solder. And we're going to tin that wire as well. Now we want a nice sharp bend. And that's going to allow us to poke that wire up and through the hole, I'm going to open up that a little bit. In the positive connection of the LED strip, and then make that connection. So just like that. Then I'm going to take and poke this wire up and in. And solder it to the LEDs. And that leaves us enough room for our JSA connector, our power input connector, not JSA, JS connector. Japanese sword arts, man. You do it and you say JSA anytime you want to say JS. Now, you're going to run this wire down along the cutout of the tube. That's how it's going to lay into position as you slide it into the case. We're not going to worry about that right now. And you're eventually going to do the same thing with this one. Although I'm betting I can just slide it underneath here too. Well, yeah, those wires are going to need to slide along the battery. You'll see later on. And so now we have this positive wire, which will be going to the switch on the top. So we're going to cut about that much wire off and leave the rest of it attached. So on to connecting the negative portion of the circuit, which involves this Scotty diode. So you're going to want to connect the cathode, or the line side, to the drain of the MOSFET, which is the bottom of that right there. Now I'm going to take and I'm going to drop it. It's back. Solder. And I'm going to solder that to the MOSFET. There's plenty of room in this project, so don't have to be picky about room. That's going to lay in there just like that, and that'll connect to the negative of the LEDs. So go ahead and trim that off and find the negative. So got the positive now on this side, so we don't need it. So yeah, that's the one we do need. Or is it? I think I have made a goof. I have made a goof. Well, that is embarrassing. Okay. I have soldered the positive wire on the negative side. Alright, well that was a fun deja vu moment. On to this side now. So, yes, we are going to be connecting the negative side. Take and bend that in the same manner that we did the other negative side. Make a hole. and solder some of the remaining wire that you cut off for the negative. So, holding too many things in my hand right now. Okay. Solder, solder, solder. Perfect. And in. It's always a 2 steps backwards. Okay. Shall we test things? Soon. Soon, I say. Now, you're going to want to trim down the blue wire and prepare to solder it onto the anode of your Scotty diode. So I'm using the Scotty diode, sorry, I'm using one of those to drop the voltage down. A Schottky diode will drop a certain amount of voltage, and that's usually dependent on how much voltage they're meant to conduct. So for example, a larger diode meant to handle more voltage will more often drop more voltage. Okay, well, the LEDs are not turning on. That's good. I need a positive input signal to the gate of the MOSFET, and the LEDs should come on. Ironically, the scissors work better for these wires. I lied. Okay, and they do. Perfect. Everything, that diode's gonna get pretty warm. It seems to be doing just fine. A little bit hot. It'll be fine. It'll just melt a little bit. Melt a little bit of blue tubing. Alright. Well, excellent. How bright is that? This guy has a reason to be bright. Yep, that wire. No, come on, I have a bad LED. Sucksers, dude. As you see, this has been a losing battle, trying to replace that one LED and then cracking another. So, we're just going to go ahead and give up on those and go to our second plan. Oh, I'm going to glue this into the area on this like it would be on the other one, and we'll just continue from there. Okay, it looks good. And hopefully we can test this LED strip, and it should work just as before. Which it does. Now we can start gluing down these other pieces into position. Okay, I am going to have to add on another little wire to the MOSFET gate. Got a little ahead of myself there. Let's prepare a wire for the MOSFET gate. Let's put one of those on. Alright, that wire just goes to the MOSFET gate, and that'll be connected up to the switch. So now everything can be pressed into the tube. And let's hope this whole thing goes as planned on the rest of this video here on out. Now I'm going to go ahead and double check that everything fits in the tube as it's supposed to, just as it is. Especially with all the changes and modifications made. And it does. Excellent. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to start tucking in the wires that need to be tucked to the proper locations. So this wire I'm going to tuck in along the side here. Actually, I tuck these wire right in here. And I just want to keep everything in place just as I slide it into the tube. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some super glue, and I'm going to dab some of the super glue just on that wire a little bit and just get the wire really close and snug. Okay, so here is where we're at now. We have this wire that is coming from the positive of the battery, and we have this which is coming from the negative of the battery, which will be for the charge board. On here we have a couple of wires. We have another positive which will go to the switch up here, and then we have a return wire that goes to the MOSFET gate. So these two wires will end up connecting to the switch. That seems to do the job it needs to do. So at this point, we can let the rest of the super glue set, so that way it doesn't frost on the inside of the tube, and then come back to finishing this. Now that the glue is dried, I can finish this off, hopefully. So what I'll be doing first is I'll be connecting these two wires to the recharging port. I've already got that marked off on the side that is negative. And I'm going to slide this into the tube. And connect those to their appropriate polarity on the connector. Easiest. Connect. Negative. While we wait for that, we'll come over to the switch side and we'll cut that off. I hope that's safe to cut off. We're gonna find out together. Ah, it is. Yeah, we're gonna cut that off and do some dremeling on that so it fits inside the tube a little bit more nicely underneath that other piece of plastic that holds the LEDs. Cool. Alright, now you're going to want to glue this switch in like this so it should fit into the tube as such. So I am going to push, actually in this case pull, I guess would be better. I'm going to pull that section out and I'm going to glue the switch onto here. So get some hot glue going. Okay. the LEDs working? Sure looks like it. Okay, we're almost done. Look at that. Super. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. Get some of this hot glue off me. Okay, so the area with the little hole in it, I don't know if you can see it on this camera. Yeah, there you go. Okay, it's the side that goes onto the area with the switch. Essentially, you're just going to want to push it on and find the place where you can have it, so that way the switch can remain out while the little plug is on, so that way it doesn't turn on. It looks to be about right there. Perfect. And then, of course, then this side, which needs to be glued in underneath that bit of plastic. So, let's get that tucked in there. I do believe I'm gonna have to trim it down on this too. I thought I'd get away with it because it was a bigger tube, but I guess I have to trim everything, even on this project. Alright, let's see if we can squeeze this guy in. Much better. Tempt fate. And I'll poke it with a metal tool. A very careful bit. Get in there, you wires. Okay, that looks like it'll finally work. Careful. Careful. I'm going to grab the heat gun, and I'm just going to warm up the hot glue on the inside of that a little bit, so that way it kind of sinks together a little bit more, and I can put that other end cap on a little tighter. Alright, last bit to go. Now that everything's in working order and checks out, I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the very tippy top of the connector to lock it into position. I have put too much in. That's what I get for leaving the hot glue gun hot and unattended. I've done a very bad thing. Yeah, that's why we have a backup for everything. Next to last step, let's not screw it up this time. First the glue, then the charging port. Seems to be a better mode of doing things. Alright, and there's that little bit of hot glue in the bottom that I wedged in there, and I'm just going to reliquify that and get that good in there. And then put the cap on. Okay, so Let's see if we got this assembled and running. It looks like we do. Well, only one last thing to do, and that's to plug the little hole in the bottom with some of our friend super glue. Okay, you know what? I hate doing this. With some of our friend super glue. With some of our friend super glue. That'll do. Yeah, that'll be a little glue bomb for me to find later. Get some of it pushed through the hole on the other side. Wipe it off. Now that you've completed the E-Hookah and you have one side covering the charging port and one side sealed and now covering the switch, you're done. But was it worth it? Well, let's compare this to 3 of our test subjects. Test subject A, test subject B, test subject C, which I put together, against the E-Hookah tube light. Da-da-da, who will win? Test subject A. Well, not so quite impressed. Let's try test subject B. Da-da-da-da. Oh, that's way better. And let's try set test subject C, my little pen light. Definitely not as good as test subject B overall. So it looks like B is our runner-up for the tube light. So let's test out the tube light. That seems to be doing pretty well, yes. Let's compare the tube light with test subject number B. Subject number B. And tube light. I think the tube light wins. Okay, it's time to test an adjective. Oh, looks like it likes to automatically float with the LEDs pointed towards the surface. Well, that's handy if you're stranded at sea. If you like this video, which I hope you did, subscribe, give us a thumbs up. I'm not forcing you to do it, but it'd be nice. And also let me know which project you want to see next on the E-Hookah project. Do you want to see the Pocket Mini Mag Levitator, or do you want to see the Pocket Poi? Those are the 2 options that are on the table for the next E-Hookah project. Let me know in the comments. And now on to today's actual task, replacing the DLP chip in a Christie projector. Stay tuned for more.